Hello everyone, my name is Rebecca. Let's talk about makeup. So today we're doing the March update for my deck of panning Project Pan, which is a project created by Emily from Emily and Max. She was inspired by a booktuber named Books with Maddi, who came up with a pretty genius way of using a deck of cards and a game board to gamify her to-be-read pile. And we're just basically doing the same thing with makeup. So we're going to take a look at the products that I pulled last month, see how I did, and then we will draw some new cards. The first thing is a product that I rolled over for my January update because I hadn't quite gotten all of my uses on it, and that is my Pat McGrath Labs Face and Eye Palette. Now, I believe the prompt for this was the focus prompt, and the whole point behind the focus prompt is to kind of refer back to what your panning goals were at the beginning of the year. Of course, I rolled this in at the beginning of the year, so I didn't have to think that far back. But when I was thinking of how I wanted to approach panning this year versus last year. So this is my second year panning. One of the things that I really wanted to do was I wanted to make sure that I gave myself space to use my newer products rather than letting them just kind of sit on my shelf or sit in the drawer in favor of older items that I was trying to pan. So last year I spent a lot of time really trying to pan a lot of older products and get them out of my collection. And I did. I was very successful and I'm very pleased with that. But what that meant is that there were a lot of newer products that I was super excited about that I just didn't get the chance to play with. And this was one of them. So I rolled this one in. I can't remember how many uses I rolled it in for, but as of the last update, I had 3 uses left. So I rolled this over to get my last 3 uses on this, and I did manage to do that. So I got my last 3 uses on this, and this is rolling out. So for the cards that I drew last month, the first card that I drew last month was the 9 of Hearts. That was for the prompt mini or sample. And for that, I rolled in this little tiny sample of my Milk mascara. I picked up a sample pack of little mini mascaras back in November, and I have been going through them one by one. It's one of those sample packs that comes with a voucher that you can redeem for a full size of any one of the mascaras that are included. And the first one I finished was the Benefit FanFest? Why can I never remember what it's called? So one in the black tube with the pink writing on it. I really enjoyed that one. This is the Milk Rise mascara. It's been a little bit of a disappointment. It definitely dried out faster than the Benefit mascara did. It is quite dry. The formula started off actually quite dry. I don't know. I don't love a super wet mascara. That is not my preference. That tends, for me at least, it tends to just make my lashes stick together and kind of look like I have fewer of them. Which is not really what I'm going for. But either this was a very dry formula, or it was a little dried out when it got to me. I don't know which of those is the case, but another thing that I noticed was that my lashes are pretty straight to start with, and I do really appreciate a mascara that gives them a little bit of a lift, or at least will hold a little bit of a curl. And this, despite the name being the Rise mascara, within minutes of applying this, my lashes would just shoot straight down again, and there was no rise in this mascara. So not my favorite. What I've actually been doing is I got so annoyed using this one on its own that I opened up my Lancome Idole that came in the same package, and I have actually been pairing these two. The Idole is a wetter formula. It is definitely a more dramatic, full-on kind of spiky lash. The benefit of the Milk Rise is that it is definitely a fluffier, lighter weight lash. So what I've been doing is just layering the two of these, applying the Idole first and then going over it with the Rise. And I feel like the two of these together are a much better mascara, but I mean, ideally I want to put one mascara on, not have to go into 2 in order to get the effect that I want. I'm probably going to end up redeeming that voucher for the FanFest because that mascara was just all the things that I wanted, and it was only 1 step instead of 2 steps. But in any case, I rolled this in for 9 uses. I go based off of the number of the card that I have drawn, and so that was a 9 of Hearts. So I rolled this in for 9 uses, but I have actually used it 15 times. So went above and beyond with that one. The next card that I drew was the 10 of Clubs, and the prompt for that was copycat. You're supposed to roll in something that you have seen someone else pan. And I was super excited about this one because I actually had This is the Minka palette from Adept Cosmetics, and this was the palette that Ruth Foley rolled into her deck of panning project back in January, and then in February she actually packed up this very same palette and sent it to me. We did a little bit of an exchange. I sent her some things from the US that she can't get in Ireland as easily, and she sent this one to me because it is no longer available, but has always been on my list of palettes that got away. I know that there is a new Adept palette that has been released, but to be honest, this one just looks prettier to me, and I am so pleased to have it. I had a lot of fun with it. I rolled it in for 10 uses. I have only managed 9 uses, so I will definitely get that last use on it, but I'm going to go ahead and pull another card in its place today because we're so close, you know? I have really enjoyed this palette. It is very difficult to get anything but an extremely full-on look with this palette, which I don't necessarily mind because I enjoy a full-on look, but it's definitely not an everyday palette for me. And lately I have been wearing eyeshadow 2, maybe 3 times a week. So it was a little bit of a squeeze for me to get my uses in, and I think that's the reason why I didn't quite make the 10 uses. But so far, I have really enjoyed this palette. It's a lot of fun. It is super messy taking it off, but it is a lot of fun. I really enjoyed playing with this palette. Thank you so much, Ruth. This was just such a lovely and thoughtful gift. The next card that I drew was the 5 of clubs, and the prompt for that was something that was a splurge. And for that, I rolled in the full-size bottle of my Kayali Eden Juicy Apple Perfume. I rolled this in for 5 uses, and I have used it 14 times. So I went above and beyond on this one too because I love the scent. I love this. It's just so delicious to me. But I'm also deeply disappointed in both the projection and the staying power of this perfume and every other Kayali perfume I have tried. I have to put a ton on to make any impact at all. Nobody else can smell it. I have to put so much of this on in order to make any kind of impact, which is why I think I'm going through it so quickly. I purchased this bottle back in November, and we're already halfway through it. It vanishes so fast. I actually saw that Kayali was releasing body sprays of some of its perfumes, and I kind of laughed because as far as I'm concerned, this has the same properties of a body spray. Body sprays, generally speaking, are a lighter weight formula. You can apply more of it. It doesn't have the intensity of a perfume, but yeah, as far as I'm concerned, this is already body spray level performance, but I paid $100 for it. $100 for this bottle. I bought it back in November. It is the middle of March and we're halfway through. This is just never again. Never. Kayali smells so good. But seriously, I could not justify paying this amount of money for a perfume with this poor performance, despite the fact that I'm obsessed with the scent. Love the scent. It'll be gone by summertime. Then I pulled the 10 of diamonds, and that was for the prompt seasonal. And for that, I rolled in my Soul Body hair and body oil. Now this is going to look significantly different than it did when I rolled it in. First of all, this is where we started. I put a little bit of washi tape on the bottle so that we would be able to track how much I used. I actually used a fair amount of this. I rolled this in for the seasonal prompt because I have combo oily skin. I have an oily scalp. Hair and body oils really are not something that I can use at any time except for during the winter. So while our cold weather was kind of lingering, I thought that this was the perfect opportunity to try to get a little bit more use on this body oil. Now it looks a little different than it did when I first rolled that in, is because I have another product. This is my Cover FX Custom Enhancer Drops in the shade Rose Gold. This is rolled into my 50 Shades of Brown project pan, and I was really struggling to get my uses on this because as a highlighter, this thing is just, it is so sparkly, especially under direct sunlight. Really struggling to get my uses on this. So in an effort to actually use this product, I actually added some of it to this body oil, and that's how I've been using the 2 of these together over the last month. So I rolled it in for 10 uses, and I actually have used it 18 times. This is where we were when we rolled it in. This is where we are now, and I will probably continue to use it until it's gone because I really did enjoy this. So those are all of my products. I technically do have one more use left on the Minka, but I'm going to pull a card in its place. So that means we are pulling 5 new cards this month. Very exciting. I have my deck of Mandalorian cards here. Let me find the Jokers. Okay, I have the red and black Jokers. I'm going to go ahead and take this little Jawa and we're going to stick it back in the deck and we will shuffle. Okay, that should do it. 5 new cards. First one is the 9 of clubs. Focus. There we go. Then we have the 10 of clubs. You heard me shuffling. You heard me shuffling. I swear to you, I've shuffled this deck. This is my second year doing deck of panning, and this is the first time I have pulled the Joker. So if you don't know, the Joker is for the prompt, are you joking? Are you joking? I managed to avoid this for so long, but I have finally pulled the Joker. The Joker is for a product that you don't want to pan. It doesn't necessarily need to be a hate pan. We don't love encouraging hate panning in the panning community just because that makes it not fun. And the whole point of this is for us to enjoy our makeup, right? But it could be something that's going to take you forever to pan. It could be something that you wear very rarely, like a red lipstick, or it could be something that you really enjoy and don't want to finish, that sort of thing. So I can't believe it. Oh my gosh. You guys, I escaped it for too long, I guess. It was bound to happen eventually. So I'm going to have to think about that one. So that's 3 cards. We need 2 more. I've got the 7 of spades. Last one, the 4 of spades. I swear to you, I shuffled this deck like crazy. Okay, we already know what the Joker is. So I'm going to set that one aside. Let me pull up the game board and we will check out what the rest of these prompts are. Okay, so this is the updated game board for March. And the first one I have here is the 9 of clubs. Out of control category. I have actually a few options for that one. I have a number of out of control categories, so that'll be fun. Okay, then we have the 10 of clubs, which is glittery. I think I got that one in January. Yeah, I think I pulled that one in January, but seriously, there is no shortage of glittery things for me to pull from my collection. Then I got obviously then I pulled the Joker, and that one's this here, Are You Joking? Then I pulled the 7 of spades, which is something that is warm toned. All right, and then there's the 4 of spades, and that is cool toned. Oh, that is so interesting. So I got both warm toned and cool toned. That's actually kind of fun. All right, I have to go pick my products. It's gonna take me a little while because of this dang Joker, okay? But I mean, obviously for you, it'll be just a second, so I will be right back. Okay, I have chosen my products. Let's start with the Joker. Let's get the painful one out of the way first. For the Joker, which the prompt is, are you joking? Something that you don't want to pan. I pulled my Stila Hide and Chic foundation. This is in the shade Light Medium 3. There are a couple of reasons why I'm hesitant to pan this, and one of them is that it's a foundation. It's gonna take me freaking forever. This is definitely not a full bottle, but I can't really tell. It is an opaque packaging. I can't tell by handling it how much is left in here, so I don't know. Maybe it will go faster than I think it will, but generally speaking, I don't wear foundation every day. I don't wear makeup at all every day, and so foundations do take me a while to get through. The second reason I'm a little hesitant to pan this is because I really, really love this foundation. I love this foundation. It was one of my favorite summer foundations. It is definitely not oil controlling. I definitely get shiny, but there is just something pretty about the shiny. I can't explain it to you in any different way than that. It ends up looking pretty and dewy, not sweaty and gross. So you know what I'm saying? I can't tell you exactly what it is about this foundation that has that effect, but I do really enjoy it. And it has been discontinued, so I cannot, once it is gone from my life forever. So that is another reason why I am a little hesitant to pan this. However, it has been in my collection for a while, and it's time. It's time to finish this one up and get it out of my collection, much as it pains me to do so. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll this in to finish because I feel like that is in the spirit of the Joker, right? It's probably gonna be with us for a little while. All right, so my other one, for the 9 of clubs, that was a category that is out of control, and absolutely 100% my most out of control category is my eyeshadow palettes. So I pulled this. This is my Ace Beauté Violet Sage palette. This is the most pretty springy palette. You may or may not know how I feel about purple and green. I just love that color combination, and my choice here is threefold really. We're moving into spring, and these kind of more springy colors really is very attractive to me. Second of all, I think I picked this palette up during a Black Friday sale, not last year, but the year before. And in that time, I've only used it just a handful of times. I definitely need to get some use on this. This has been languishing in my collection. I definitely need to get a little bit more use on it. I have not even used it enough times to really be sure of how I feel about the Ace Beauté formula. So I feel like this will give me the opportunity to do so. Third, Pat McGrath recently revealed her new mothership, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I understand the reservations that some of Pat McGrath's fans have about the palette. I understand them, that I share some of those reservations, to be honest. At the same time, that palette has some purple, some pink, and some green. And those colors speak to me so much, and that color combination speaks to me so much. So when I first saw it, I gasped. I was like, oh, that's gorgeous. But at the same time, I do not need to be spending $125 on an eyeshadow palette. I do not need to be doing that. So I'm thinking these are not anywhere near the same tones as what Pat has included in her palette. I know the formula is going to be nowhere near the same, but I don't know. Maybe if I'm really lucky, using this palette can satisfy my desire for that purple and green color combination enough that I won't be tempted to buy that mothership, because seriously, 120, well, I think it's 128 USD now is what her motherships are going for. And I do not need to be spending that kind of money on another eyeshadow palette. I really don't. So this might help me hold off on that. That is my hope, at least. So this is rolling into the project for 9 uses. Then the 10 of spades was the glittery prompt, and for that I rolled in this ColourPop Super Shock Shadow in the shade Corsage. I thought that this would be a really beautiful complement to the colors found in here. These 2 greens here are actually mattes, so I thought it would be fun to have a green shimmer in here as well, just to add to some of those looks. It has a lot of really pretty green and gold shimmer in there. I do enjoy a Super Shock. I don't get nearly enough use out of my single shadows as I should. So I'm rolling this one in for the glittery prompt for 10 uses. The next one was the 7 of spades, and that was something warm toned. And for that, I'm rolling in one of the newer items in my collection. This is the Milani Baked Powder Blush in the shade Luminoso. This is a brand new Luminoso. It is not the first time I've had Luminoso in my collection. Some years back, I had this in my collection. I ended up actually panning it, not using it up completely, but hitting pan, and then it shattered and fell all over my carpet. And I ended up having to throw away the remaining fragments of this, and since it left my collection, I have really missed it. This is definitely something I really enjoy. And while I do prefer my bronzers to be on the cool side, because I do have a cool olive undertone, I really do enjoy a warm blush, and this is one of the best out there. I really should not be rolling in a blush because I'm already panning 2 other blushes in other projects, but it is what it is. I am eager to get some use on this, so we are rolling it in for 7 uses. The last one was the 4 of spades, which was for the prompt cool toned. I thought it was cool that I got warm toned and cool toned. So for the cool toned product, I'm rolling in this. This is my e.l.f. liquid lipstick in the shade Tea Rose, and it is just this beautiful cool toned nude color that I really enjoy this shade. I like it on its own. I like mixing it in with other things as well to just kind of lighten them up and cool them off a little bit. It does get a little bit light for me in the summertime, so I feel like this is the perfect time for me to get some use out of it. But yeah, this is my cool toned product that I will be rolling in for 4 uses. And those are all the products that are rolling into my deck of panning for the coming month. I can't believe I got the Joker, y'all. It was bound to happen eventually, everyone. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.